Hi, thank you so much for joining me today for One Sketch Three Ways, a series that I create with my friends Helen and Jackie. And each month we choose a sketch, which you'll see in the top left-hand corner there, and each create from it to show our different interpretations. So today's sketch is by the lovely Helen, and you can see it's got a lot of photos in it and it's quite busy for me. So I have gone slightly my own way in this sketch. So I've turned it by 90 degrees so that my photos go across the top of the page rather than down the left hand side. And I've also printed them all the same size. They're all 2x3 photos, portrait, and they're of our recent trip to New York. We went to Dyker Heights in Brooklyn, which is a place where people go crazy decorating their houses for Christmas. It's quite well known. So we wanted to go and have a look at all those, and I'm really pleased that we did. It was great fun. So I've chosen this green dotty paper, which is from the Holly Jolly collection from Simple Stories, which was the Christmas 2024 collection. And then the piece behind is from Vicky Bouton's collection last year. I've just torn the edge there rather than having a straight cut edge like in the sketch. And I'm adding some water just so that I can curl that up. And then I shall do the same with that black piece, which is going to sit behind it. I've kept the grid from that black piece, which is the reverse of that paper, so that I can use that for the bottom bit of this 12x12 page. So I've just used two papers, but I'm being clever with how I use that second paper so that I can use both sides of it. So you see there, just gluing that down, and then I use my grid first of all to measure this all out to 12x12, just to check that I'm happy with how it looks before finally gluing it down. And then I'll grab a piece of 12x12 card and set it on that, just so that it is definitely a 12x12. I don't glue it to the white cardstock, I just use that as my guide. So here I am just checking that I'm happy with the positioning and that I don't want to add anything else. And then I'll bring in that paper. Now I've put those ornaments to one side. That's the reverse of that green dotty paper from Simple Stories, and I'm going to cut out some of those ornaments to use as embellishments. The rest of the layout, I've just pulled out my Christmas box, which is full of bits and pieces of various Christmas collections, and that's what I intend to use to decorate this. It's already quite busy because of all the photos, 8 photos, so there's not a huge amount of space to embellish, but I still managed to go on and embellish somehow. So just cutting out 3 of these ornaments to add to the bottom left hand side, and that will be in place of the tag and ticket that Helen's got in the sketch. So just finishing fussy cutting all of these out, and then I'll position them down. I didn't really want any of the blue showing because it doesn't go with the rest of the page. I just wanted the greens and reds. So I pulled out these alphabets from Hey Little Magpie, my shop, and I'm going to spell out Dyker Heights as my title. And again, the title's in the same position as the sketch. I've just rotated that sketch through 90 degrees. So there we go, and I wanted it to go up and down just to create movement like the photos do. And then once again I'm cutting out 2 of the ornaments, some smaller ornaments this time, and I'll hang them off the D on the title there. So there they are. I will pop those up on foam pads just to create a little bit of dimension, and then use my black gel pen to create lines for them to sit on, so it looks like they're hanging from the D of the title there. There's one down, and then I'll just pop the second one down, and like I say, just use a gel pen. So while I'm doing this, please do remember to check the description box down below. I'll link to the Facebook group where you can all share your interpretations of this sketch this month, and also to Helen and Jackie's channels. I've seen their layouts and I can't wait to see their process videos to see how they create them. It's so much fun seeing how everybody else creates and what their thought process is as they're creating things. You can look at a layout and copy it, but sometimes seeing inside the creator's head is so much more fun. And that's why I love process videos so much. So just gluing these down at the bottom now. I'm just going to keep these flat to the page, and then I'll carry on embellishing. So I've pulled out those epoxy brads, decorative brads I think they call them, and this chipboard sheet from Vicky Bouton. And I find this one that says Holiday Fun straight away, so I want to add that to the bottom there. And then there's this lovely fir sprig with the berries, so I'm just going to add that above that bottom photo with a little banner that says sweater weather. So that's that bit, and then going back into these brads, I choose the chipboard piece that says Wonderland, so the title now reads Dyker Heights Wonderland, and then I'm pulling in some little bits and pieces from my Christmas collection to create a cluster on the right hand side. I'm building it up on the left here, but I've realised that it definitely needs to move over to the right. So it's a little, 2 tickets in fact, one that says 30th of December, which is the date that we were there, and the red one, and they're both from 49er Market ticket ephemera pieces. And then I've got this lovely tag from one of the Simple Stories papers, and I'm just going to use that as the mat for everything to sit on. So I will ink that using, I think it's pine needles, Distress Oxide, and then I'm going to add that to the page with some green wax twine through the hole. So just slipping that behind those bits and just using it as the base for that cluster. And then gluing everything down before I add the twine there. So the page is already getting quite busy, and I've definitely gone off the sketch that Helen had originally created, but Helen knows what I'm like. Start with an idea, and I think that's what the idea of sketches really, isn't it? If it gets the creative juices flowing, then that's what we need, isn't it? So just going through this 12 by 12 sticker sheet from Simple Stories. I do love their sticker sheets, and I find this little tangle of Christmas lights, which I think is perfect to document this story. So I'm just adding those to the top of that tag, and it fills in that space nicely between the title and the tag at the bottom. So trimming the very end off so it looks like they're trailing off the edge of the page, and then I'm going to add my journaling to this tag here now. So now I'm going to add the wax twine, as I mentioned, through that tag, and it's just going to trail across the bottom of the page so that it joins the left-hand cluster to that right-hand cluster, just for a bit of continuity. And I will fill in a little bit more because, you know, why not add more to the page? So just using my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to stick that wax twine down so it doesn't move about the page when I add it to the page protector, and then I'll carry on. So just trimming off those edges so that it's nice and neat and exactly where I want it to be. So now back into these brads, and I add a couple more to this left-hand cluster. And then into the cut aparts from Hey Little Magpie. This is one of the printables that I sell, and I cut the labels out. I pre-cut them out so that I've got them all in an envelope, and also punched out the circles so that I can create my own epoxy brads. So epoxy, what are they called? Flare badges. So I pulled out that green one that says "What Fun," and I'm just adding an epoxy dot to the top to create that. I'm just adding that to that bottom cluster there. And then adding some little word phrases as well to the page. So just words that work with the stories. I've got ho ho ho, deck the halls, a very Merry Christmas, joy to the world, and Dear Santa going down that left hand side there. And then on the right I just added to that little green one that says cheer. So just messing about with the positioning just to check that I'm happy. And then I find this little puffy sticker that says warm wishes, and I just think that's a nice addition to that tag. So a few more of these brads just at the top of the page here, and then off camera at the end I do add a little ribbon loop to the left hand side and a little chipboard bird underneath the title to finish it off. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon. Bye.